it's Jennifer from Belladonna's Botanicals, and this is another episode of my series on spiritual awakening. And today's topic, wanted to. This was one of those late night thoughts, and I messaged a friend of mine, and I couldn't stop laughing. But this is called "You Can't Buy Me Godhood," and you have to say that to the tune of "You Can't Buy Me Love" by I think the Beatles. So, anyways. What I want to talk about in the spiritual awakening journey is there is so much focus, especially in the left-hand path, on ascension, apotheosis, and godhood, and deification and self-deification. And I'm going to say this right here: you cannot buy your godhood. That is something that takes a lot of fucking work to get towards. I can't say that I've gotten there fully myself. So, and believe me, I have tried. There's plenty of books out there on, deification stuff. I don't know, maybe there aren't plenty, but I've seen at least one in the past year released. There's a lot about deification. There are rituals for deification and things like that, whether you pay someone an exorbitant amount of money to do it for you, or you do it yourself. I had one done a few years ago. I mean, initially it seemed like there was some uptick in my life and stuff like that, but did it make me a god? No, it did not. So, if you're thinking if you're looking out there at all the, crackpot, snake oil salesman, charlatans in the occult, and there are plenty of them, you can't buy godhood. And doing a ritual is not going to make you a god. If you think so, you are sadly mistaken and probably wasting a lot of money. And, I have my feelings on certain, people and organizations, whatever, not mentioning names here, but we have this focus, especially in the left-hand path, on reaching ascension, apotheosis, becoming a god, your own god. Those can be part of your spiritual awakening, but what I'm talking about in this video is you can't buy it. There are some things you've got to put in the work, the hard effing work. And when you look at these people selling this BS, are they living the lives of gods and goddesses or any deities? I mean, yeah, get back to me on that. Let me know. Because one of the things I do, and you probably can have guessed this through the various videos I've made on the subject over the years, is I watch a ton of documentaries on how not to, well, basically my takeaway is how not to become a cult leader or start a cult, and also to keep myself in check. Because when I watch those videos, it's like I want to make sure I am not falling down any of those rabbit holes. I'm not walking around with the elevated sense of self because every goddamn one of those bullshit gurus is God or reincarnation of Jesus, or there was one I was watching. Oh, God. Oh, I think it was the Love is One cult. Oh, my effing God. There's some documentaries on YouTube. I highly suggest watching that one because it did mirror. I was like, wow, some of these organizations here really do mirror the cult playbook quite a lot. So that is part of my research and dedication, not only to my spiritual awakening, but, as, a business owner and a content creator with a YouTube channel and whatnot. I just don't want to fall down any of those rabbit holes because it does not end well. Oh, no, it does not. You have to keep your ego in check. And following up to the previous video I did in the series on the abyssal triad about crossing the abyss, ego death, dark night of the soul. Once you get through some of those things, it becomes so crystal clear. in your own motivations, like what are you doing that is purely ego driven? And you also see that in others. Anyone who is walking around thumping their chest and, proclaiming to be a god is just someone thumping their chest and proclaiming to be God. It doesn't work that way. And the litmus test in anything, in spiritual awakening, in your own, in others, is there's a lot of people that think it, but they're not there yet. And that's okay. I've hit all sorts of bumps in the road along the 30 some year trek that, has gotten me this far. So, how do you achieve godhood and apotheosis? Well, I can tell you it's not going to be from a single ritual. It's not going to be from a single book, and it's not going to be from a single practitioner. It's a process. And I'm sorry. I've done some of this stuff before. And what I try to bring to the viewers of my channel is an alternative perspective to some of the BS that is out there, especially in the left-hand path community or a little aspect of the darker occult spectrum. So how do you get to naturally progress? Now, I'm not saying these rituals and these processes don't do anything towards that, but it is not going to literally make you a god or goddess or whatever deity of your choice. It's not. You can say it is. I mean, you can, swear by the testimony of, 40,000 simps that it works. It probably doesn't, because you have to consider the source. The people that you're following as these spiritual leaders, it's not to say we all have perfect lives, because hey, first to admit, I've seen some shit, and I've been through a lot of shit. I have a lot of battle scars to prove it. That is part of the process. Don't get me wrong. But if you are proclaiming to be a god, to be so awakened and reach that level of apotheosis and ascension and all of that, that you are now a god, you wouldn't be an effing magician. Sorry. I'm sorry. So I try to impart my experiences and give you guys the brutally honest opinion. And that's what all this is I'm no more right than the next person. I'm just giving you a perspective, because there is so much BS out there. And when I look at these videos, like these cult exposés, and I watch so very many of them, the most recent ones I watched was the Love is One cult and the Twin Flame Universe one. Like some of these cults are just like, holy crap, they may not be doing Manson family murders, but it's like there is danger. People have died because of these cults. And we're not talking about Jim Jones here. I mean, we're talking, people like you and me who are spiritual seekers, who are looking for something, who are looking for direction, who are trying to achieve that enlightenment and work through our spiritual journeys. And it's part of our responsibility to critique the world we live in and say, hey, that group over there, or that person, or that mode of thinking is very toxic. It is not going to lead to your elevation to godhood. And if you think it is, you're wasting your money. It's not drama and stuff like that. You can easily separate the drama from the real world harm. And, the influence that we have putting ourselves out there as we are through our content, through our channels, through our Patreons, through all these things, those things can easily fall into the wrong hands. And like we saw in 2021 with the murders of the two women in the UK by Daniel Hussein, who was inspired by the work from Become a Living God. That's not drama. There's two women that died because of that. And that person, honestly, my feeling on it, with all things involved, that person was going to do what they did regardless of who said what, because they'd already been deprogrammed from radical Islam prior to like going, hey, let's become a Satanist. And, what happened. But, to talk about something like sacrifice of the human variety, or even animal stuff too, if some people cannot divorce themselves from literal interpretations of things. So if you literally think that by clicking this magic button, you're going to become a god faster than everyone else, you're sadly mistaken. Not literally. Metaphorically, figuratively, symbolically, sure, not literal. And that is something I try to hammer into people, because it is a real effing problem in the occult with how literal people take things. Like, I'm sorry, I can't make you a little, widgy potion that's going to turn you into a shape-shifting werewolf zombie mermaid. Reality check. This does not exist. Literally. But anyways. So that's the lens you need to look through things in, is literally. I made a whole video on it, on the literal, metaphorical, and figurative, because it all kind of played into how some of the more unscrupulous people in the left-hand path glom on to Belial as the lawless one as an excuse for shitty fucking behavior. And Belial don't play like that. How's your life going? Blame Belial on your shitty behavior? Yeah, that's some real F around and find out material right there. He gonna bring you. So, I can't tell you how to become a god, how to ascend, how to reach your pinnacle of spiritual awakening and enlightenment. And because you know what? It is going to be entirely unique to each person. My lived experiences are very different than anyone watching these, for any number of reasons. I mean, there are similarities. We may both have, lived in a big city for half our life, or we may have, done XYZ thing experientially, or we might work with a particular subset of, dark goddesses and the demonic divine. But there is no roadmap to it. And if there is a roadmap to your godhood and spiritual waking, you are the only one who is going to be able to figure that out and know it. Now you can, look at people, anyone, authors, content creators, whatever, and look at the stuff that they're doing and how they got there. But you're not going to reach your spiritual enlightenment by mimicking every single thing I've done in my life to work towards mine, because I'm lucky if I remember it myself. So, what have we learned today? You can't buy your godhood. And I'm going to say that a little louder for those in the back. You can't buy your godhood. So stop wasting your money. That's really one. This is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter video because I don't have a whole lot of research and outlines surrounding this, but I think this is an important topic in the Spiritual Awakening series, because we are all spiritual seekers, regardless of the path, regardless of whether we stay on one path or jump back and forth and experience the world in the way that makes sense to us. You'll know you're on the right path when you get there, because it becomes abundantly clear in a way that if you think you thought you were enlightened before, when you get to that point, you're like, holy F. Holy F, I had no clue. And I, as many leaps and bounds as I've made in my spiritual awakening over the past, couple few years, I've got a lifetime ahead of me in which, and maybe multiple incarnations to keep working through that. Who's to say? I don't know that we reach our, most people in one lifetime aren't going to really reach that like end goal spiritual awakening status. Most people. Is it possible? Sure. Likely, probably not, but here we are. So I like to present my information in a very clear and direct way. I'm autistic. That's what makes sense to me. And with a little bit of humor and levity because it's me. Um, but yeah, I'd love to hear what you think about this topic. Feel free to drop a comment below. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and be sure to also click the notification bell. Whether or not you get notifications is another story. Right now the YouTube algorithm sucks, so you're probably not even seeing half of our content. I am working on ways around that, but be sure to follow us on social media. All of our links are, below all of our videos and on our channel page. Follow us on social media, sign up for e-newsletter. You'll be kept up with sales and, new product releases and all that good stuff. And you'll see all our awesome videos. So anyways, thank you, and I will talk to y'all again later. Bye.